Hey everyone! So, for those of you who don't know, I can't eat anything with gluten in it. My body just doesn't tolerate it. And the longer I go without gluten, the better I feel. But then when I do get something with gluten accidentally, the reaction my body has is actually a lot worse. So, that sucks. Hi, Bo. Bo has joined us. Although I haven't actually been formally tested for celiac disease, the last time I went into the doctor, they said that my reactions were severe enough that they could classify it as celiac. So, we're just going ahead with the celiac. It's also, you know, when you tell people that you're gluten intolerant, they're like, oh, okay. But then when you tell them that you have, like, celiac, they're like, oh, that means you can't do this, that, or the other thing. And I was like, yeah, that's what it means. So, not only is doctors actually, like, calling it celiac better for me, but me being able to just tell my friends or whoever we're eating with that, yeah, I can't because of a disease, that's a lot easier for people to understand than, oh, I'm just intolerant. It's like lactose intolerance. Oh, you can still have milk, can't you? Like, yeah, it just makes me shit. Anyway, the only way to combat a celiac diagnosis or even just gluten intolerance is to not eat gluten at all, which is a lot of things. It really is. So I'm going to talk about some of the experiences I've had eating at home, eating out. Eating out is by far the hardest, obviously, because at home you have a lot more control over what you're buying, what you're eating, what you're cooking, how you're cooking it, what you're cleaning up, all those things. It makes all the difference in the world to actually know every step that's been taken in your food. Like, from the packaged produce or whatever to sitting on your plate and actually eating it. The first one that I want to mention is one of the ones I remember most clearly. Right after I went to the doctor for the first time, they said, yes, you definitely have an intolerance, you should cut out gluten from your diet and see how you feel. Well, we went out to eat not that long after that, maybe a few weeks, to Denny's because they do have a lot of gluten-free options, and it was really late at night, and me and Lindsay and I were gonna cook, so that was the thing to do, is go out and eat. I ordered a build-your-own hamburger, which has lots of gluten-free options, including the patty, toppings, obviously fresh produce is going to be gluten-free, and I asked them to put it on one of their gluten-free English muffins instead of bun. It's all fine and dandy. We order. We clearly hear the waitress yelling in the back, like, hey, that one's gluten-free, make sure you get the gluten-free English muffin, not bread, it's gluten-free. Like, oh, yeah, I don't even know how many times she said gluten-free. It was a lot. They bring it out, eat it, it's delicious. Okay, the English muffin, it wasn't anything to, like, dream about. But the actual burger part was delicious. And the next morning, get up, get out of bed, and I feel like total crap. Absolutely crap. My doubling over, my stomach is in so much pain, my, lower intestines hurt, and I feel like I have to throw up all morning. I feel sick and exhausted, and it was super unpleasant. Alright, so let's skip ahead a few months, and we're at home this time. I toast some bread, I think, for a sandwich. Anyway, I do something in the toaster oven, and I don't realize at that point that Lindsay had already cooked something in the toaster oven, a croissant or one of her little individual pizzas or something. I eat my sandwich or whatever. Hours later, again, I am feeling way under the weather. And I mean, really bad. It's not just oh yeah, I'm gonna go lay down because I don't feel great. No, this is I feel like I'm gonna throw up. It's not fun to get anything gluten in my system. We skip ahead a few more months, and I go out with some friends. Well, me and Lindsay go out with some friends, and I order something off the gluten-free menu. The waitress knows, and everyone's ordering drinks, but I'm driving, so, I get offered to try a few, which is cool, but we look up the recipes and a bunch of them have like sweet and sour, which has gluten in it, or other things that are, contain gluten. It's weird to think about how your drink has gluten in it, but a lot of those mixers and things do. So yeah, it's a lot to think about, to be honest. So I turn a whole bunch down, I try one or two. Me and Lindsay have been home for a few hours, or for more than a few hours actually. We've been asleep, 3 a.m. rolls around, and I wake up like sweating and am gonna throw up. Definitely, okay, so I run to the bathroom, go ahead, throw up. I mean, it's escalated from, wow, I ate something contaminated and I feel like crap, to, oh, I got a breadcrumb, feel like crap, to full on, I'm sick. So, like I said, the longer I go without gluten in my diet, the better I feel, like, way better. I don't feel like lethargic as much, or have as many headaches, or anything like that. Like, my gut doesn't hurt. But man, when I get something in there, it's a disaster. That's what's become of it. So, we try to lessen the risks. Eating out is one of those things that is always a risk. It's unfortunate that, the whole social thing is, oh, let's go out to eat. That's what we do to be social. To make our lives easier, we actually downloaded some apps. The one we use most is Find Me GF, so Find Me Gluten Free, and it's free on the App Store and on Google Play, so that's cool. Basically, it's a big database of restaurants that have gluten-free items, and you can search based on your location, or you can type in a location, find a whole bunch of restaurants that have gluten-free options. Sometimes the lists are really short, and sometimes they're long. I like the longer ones because more options. But you have to do your due diligence. Like, there's a lot of restaurants that are marked in the app as gluten-free, which is true. They are gluten-free. They have gluten-free options. A lot of that is seafood, and I don't eat seafood. So, you have to do your due diligence, make sure there's actually something you want on the menu. Always look at the menu, that's my thing. It all just depends on how I'm feeling that day. So a lot of times I'll take into consideration what my friends might want, and I'll try to find 2 or 3 restaurants that, oh yeah, these sound good, they have things that I want to eat, and then I'll send those options to them and be like, hey, you can choose one. My friends are awesome. They understand, or have come to understand over the past 6 months, that this sucks a lot, and it's pretty difficult, and it's a lot to think about. So they're cool about, letting me choose some options and then choosing from those. There's always a chance whenever you go out that you're gonna get something contaminated. A couple of the other apps I use, Food Detective. Food Detective is a pretty important app, actually. I haven't really used it too much, but I will definitely start using it more. It's really awesome. You just scan your barcodes of anything in the supermarket, and it's got a huge database, mostly of name brand items. So if you're at Food Lion or whatever and buying Food Lion brands, then it might not see those in the database. This was actually recommended by my stepmom because you can tell it what allergies you have. It's not just for gluten. I put in gluten, and I went ahead and just added everything I could think of, like wheat, barley, soy. I don't even know what else I have in there. But it's got all those things in it, and when you scan the barcode, it'll pull up the ingredients list for your item, and it'll actually flag whatever's in there. I recently found out that grape juice concentrate actually can have wheat in it. I was like, are you kidding me? Grape juice concentrate? We're buying popsicles! And I was like, oh man, I don't know if all the things in there are gluten-free. Scan it. Sure enough, grape-flavored popsicles have the potential to have wheat in them. It's insane! The CDF Market is another gluten-free thing. It's actually for the Celiac Disease Foundation. And what you can do in there is type up a generic, list or whatever. You can type in salsa, and it'll pull up a whole bunch of brands and tell you which ones can have like gluten in them or which ones are gluten-free, so you know what brands to look for. So we found that really useful when we were starting out. Celiac actually affects more than 3 million Americans, and gluten intolerance can affect even more. So it's really important that we know what gluten is and what products can have gluten in them, and it's really important for us to make sure that we educate people about it, because for those of us living with it, it can be tough. Anyway, thanks for watching today, and I hope that you learned something, and I hope I didn't gross you out too much. But I think it's really important for people to actually understand, like, that people do get sick. Yeah. Bye.